welcome to the Acid Trash Jamboree, and to another video where I shine a spotlight on a compilation album that I've been checking out lately. Up for discussion today is Spaced Out, the story of Mushroom Records, a double disc comp issued by Grapefruit Records in 2017. The first half of this is made up of assorted bits and pieces from said UK labels, rather slim but still pretty eclectic early 70s discography. Then disc 2 gives us a generous helping of mostly pre-Mushroom 1960s tracks, produced by label founder and all-round studio wizard Vic Keary. Now, as I just said, Mushroom released all sorts of stuff in its short lifespan, ranging from folk and prog rock to avant-garde jazz and even some Indian classical music. Probably the most famous or infamous thing that they put out was Past the Distance, the dark, disturbed and eye-wateringly rare debut LP from acid folk icon Simon Finn, as well as excellent offerings from the likes of Magic Carpet, Lol Coxhill, and Second Hand, not to mention the rather patchy, jam-heavy, self-titled effort from the post-Second Hand unit Chillum, all of which I was familiar with prior to buying Spaced Out. Here we get a smattering of tracks from all of these acts, including the gorgeous raga Psych of Magic Carpet's Phoenix, and Second Hand's eccentric, mellotron-drenched mini-masterpiece Hanging on an Eyelid. The first disc closing out with Simon Finn's signature song, Jerusalem, which famously builds to an utterly demented climax, Finn practically foaming at the mouth with rage, frying the microphone with impassioned screams. Back in 2005, I had the great pleasure of seeing him play this song live when he supported Current 93 in Italy. And sure enough, he went all out, tearing his throat to shreds and breaking at least half the strings on his guitar in the process. In between all this, things aren't quite as eventful, with much of the CD given over to way more traditional fare from the likes of Mappa Tandy and the Liverpool Fishermen, their tracks originally issued on 1971's Mushroom Folk Sampler, as well as some pleasant soft acoustic rock from equally obscure acts like Callan and Flynn and Gordon Ellis and Steele. Yeah, as I say, nice enough, but nothing earth-shattering. Of all the Disc 1 stuff that was new to me when I first got this comp, I'm quite partial to the minor key hippie jam Puckery by Urban Clearway, whilst Greek singer-songwriter Andreas Tomopoulos offers up a spooky sliver of fragile, echo-laden psych folk entitled False Eyelashes, which is very cool indeed. Over on Disc 2, things are no less varied, but unfortunately, the quality's a lot more hit and miss. Yeah, whilst it still offers up a clutch of gems, there's a fair bit of lightweight beat group, R&B, and easy listening dreck to wade through in the meanwhile. The low point coming in the form of Mel Turner's soul version of White Christmas, which unsurprisingly sounded even more excruciating, playing in the middle of June. As far as the good stuff is concerned, to start with, we get a passable stab at the Kinks' Party Line by The Attraction, a couple of mid-period Beatles-style jewels from Tuesday's Children, and both sides of Denis Couldry's debut Decca single, the whimsical Toy Town pop of A-side James in the Basement, and its excellent flip, I Am Nearly There, which alternates between moody, slow-burn psych and freak-beat raving, its droning, modal outro peppered with sampled strings, again very Beatlesque. Couldry had previously served as a member of one single and done psych legends, Felius Andromeda, composing and singing the lovely, orchestrated jangler Cheadle Heath Delusions, as well as contributing genuine church organ to the A-side, Meditations, both of which are included here. Now, of all the stately, classically infused proto-prog songs that emerged in the wake of Procol Harum's classic Whiter Shade of Pale, for me, Meditations is easily one of the best, juxtaposing its gloomy, funereal intro against a glorious, euphoric chorus. And it's just as well I like this song so much, as I probably own it on 5 or 6 different comps at this point. Bassist and co-writer of Meditations, Alan Morgan, returned to Keary's studio a few years later as part of a group now simply named Andromeda, not to be confused with the zillions of other bands who have used this name, not least John Ducan's legendary pre-Atomic Rooster heavy Psych unit, whose lone album is well worth checking out. Again, this particular Andromeda only managed to crank out the one single, with the urgent, horn and string-propelled flamenco pop of After the Storm, backed by the rather nondescript West Coast country rockisms of Rainbow Chasing. Okay stuff, but nothing like the single from '67. Just going back to Denis Couldry a second, I once heard the late Simon Morris of underground legend Ceramic Hobbs refer to him as Northern England's answer to Syd Barrett, and sadly, a bit of research suggests that this is all too true. Yeah, according to something Couldry's brother wrote in a YouTube comment a few years back, Denis underwent unsuccessful electroshock therapy for unspecified mental health issues sometime in the early 70s. And he eventually died in Blackpool Victoria Hospital's psychiatric ward in the mid-90s. So a tragic end to a very promising talent. Just to wrap up my ramblings about this second disc, there are a couple more tunes from Second Hand here, both taken from their 1968 concept effort, Reality, early copies of which were credited to the Moving Finger. Yeah, first up we get the loose, heavy groover The World Will End Yesterday. Then the comp concludes in fine style with the climactic title song, a suitably dramatic way to end things. So, that's Spaced Out in a nutshell. Truth be told, if you're a seasoned Prog and Psych traveller, then you'll probably have most, if not all, the best stuff here already. Though if you don't, then I'd still suggest probably just skipping over this collection and diving straight into the aforementioned full lengths by Simon Finn, Second Hand, and the others, whilst all the Tuesday's Children and Felius Andromeda adjacent stuff can be found on countless other comps, most of which are way more consistent than this one. Yeah, I picked this up in the vain hope that I'd stumble across something else of that calibre, but unfortunately, save for a small handful of songs, it wasn't to be. Still, taking on its own merits, Spaced Out is far from awful, and I'll no doubt give it at least a couple more spins in the coming years, so that's something. Anyways, that's just about it for today. If you're new around these parts and like the idea of me wittering endlessly about all kinds of weird and wonderful music and movies, then feel free to hit the subscribe button and check out the archive for loads more content. In the meanwhile, thanks a lot for watching, and I'll catch you again soon on the Acid Trash Jamboree.